Welcome to Neighborhood Update. October is Domestic Violence Month, a time to educate, advocate, and share resources with the hope of rescuing and saving lives and families from the trauma that all experience through domestic violence. In identifying resources, which we will do today, one of the agencies that comes to mind is the New Bedford Women's Center. For over half a century, this agency has been in the forefront for many years doing great work combating domestic violence. With me today is the present Executive Director, Kristin Batstone, and Renu Tewarie. Tewarie. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Marci.
Thank you
for inviting us. Thank you.
You are so welcome. I know that both of you are fairly new to your positions, and as I stated in the opening, it's been well over 50 years that the New Bedford Women's Center has had a wonderful presence in this community. So as you are inheriting that legacy, you also are stepping into creating your own, ushering your own new era. And with that, you are no longer in the pink house on County Street. You have a new location. So tell me, Kristin, if you will, about the transition and why the transition came about, and tell us what's new in your facility.
Yeah, absolutely, Marci. So the beloved historic property that we occupied for a long time, we outgrew it. So as we were responding to more and more needs in the community, we needed a space that was more client-centered, specifically giving us a room to expand our services. In addition, the new space offers us updated security and safety, so clients are buzzed in downstairs, then they're buzzed in again, and we have more private spaces, so we take walk-ins and by appointment, adults, mostly women, and children who've suffered trauma because of domestic violence or sexual assault. So the downtown location is a little more accessible. There's also a little more discretion. Being in an office building, a woman can come for services to our door and be at that building for any purpose, undefinable, and could be seeing her insurance broker or an attorney, and there provides a little bit more discretion for folks.
And you're not alone either, because there are many other agencies that are there as well.
That's right.
Renu, what is your title, and can you tell us something about the responsibilities that you have?
Okay, so I'm a community service director. A lot of department comes under me. So first is domestic violence and sexual assault. So we do the intervention and prevention work together. And then we have our rape crisis center. So our medical advocacy comes under me. Then we have housing, that is the transitional housing, that comes under me. And then we have police, CPA, that is civilian police advocates. They sit in the different police stations. And then we have legal department, that's not legal department, legal advocates. They are more in a safe plan advocates. So they give a safety plan, and then they help us filing restraining orders. So that they do there. So if I have to define all of them in different ways, yes, we can. I have a long way to go. So when somebody comes in our office, so we do the intake, and then we start with what their need is, and that comes. The first person comes, that is a domestic violence and sexual assault advocate, and then they define what resources they need. If they want restraining order, then we go to our legal advocate, and then they help them with that. Many clients are afraid to go to the police station alone, so then we need CPA there. Then we reach out to them, and then they are there to help them there in that field. Then they need housing or shelter, then the different department comes there. And then it comes if they need a mental health or they need for the children, because children are also affected when domestic violence or sexual assault happens. So then we have in the second floor, full department for the children too.
Excellent. So you have an array of services
Yes.
to assist in making this individual whole.
Yes.
So if somebody was walking today, and I love that walk-ins are welcome.
Yes.
If somebody is watching today and they're in a situation where they fear for their life, and they call you and they're in a situation where they're in a crisis situation where they need to be removed immediately and they have children, how would that work? Are you able to house them immediately? Do you have transitional housing? Speak on that.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that all of our services are 24/7. So just to reinforce that our hotline is open 24/7, our medical advocacy is available 24/7, and our confidentially located safe home shelter spaces are staffed 24/7.
Okay.
All of our services are free and confidential. So, and that's just to provide some background. So the first step would be calling the hotline or calling our front office.
Okay.
And then we would do the process that Renu just described. Are you safe to talk? What are your identified needs? Our work is survivor driven. Our work is survivor led too, Marci, and we can talk about that.
Okay.
And it's survivor centered. So it's the needs that survivors are identifying, whether it's transportation, housing, food, counseling, group support, court support, all the things that Renu mentioned.
And so, as I said in the opening, for over 50 years, when we think of domestic violence, you are the primary agency that comes to mind. And I'm sure that, and we are going to put on the screen today at the end of this program, there are many hotlines and there are many numbers that you can call if you're a victim of domestic violence. But I'm sure they all are going to lead to you at some point because of the
In this
array,
region, right.
because of the array of services that you provide. So you do provide housing for people that are in immediate.
We do. We have 3 confidentially located shelters, 2 in New Bedford and 1 in Fall River. As we know, in housing especially, but in shelter, space is limited.
Yes.
We do our best to empower those who are coming into our shelters to be able to move out into their next space as quickly as they're safe to do so.
So you say quickly as they are safe to do so. What would be the minimum and what typically would be the maximum?
Sure. So all of our programs fall under the journey that we accompany a survivor on, the journey of safety, hope, and empowerment. So if any of the services that Renu or you have discussed fall under one of those categories, that's always our goal, to accompany a survivor on the journey to safety, hope, and empowerment. The emergency shelters that we are contracted with the Department of Public Health to run are anywhere from a 3 to 6 to 9 to 12 month stay. So it really depends on the survivor's needs. One of our shelters has a specialty focus on survivors with substance misuse, because we know there's an intersection between domestic violence and substance misuse. So that might take a little longer for someone to stabilize before they move on. We have a very few spaces for a very quick turnaround. If someone's in an emergency situation but maybe has a plan in a few days but isn't safe right now, we have safe rooms for a 1 or 2 or 3 day stay. We're deeply connected with our community partners in the city and in the county. So in Fall River Continuum of Care and in the Bristol County Continuum of Care, we're connected to a lot of other providers. And it's part of our work to make that warm referral. If we don't offer the services, where can we help you find that?
And so, and you identified partners because to be able to assist or give somebody the support needed to make them whole. No one agency can own that. There has to be an array of partners. Who are some of your collaborative partners?
Really, the question is, think of a human service provider in the area and who's not one of our partners. But some of the main, of course, we work strongly with the family and with the crisis center, right? Child and Family Services. We work closely with the Children's Advocacy Center in Fall River, referring back and forth with them. Who else, Renu?
We work with children and family, DCF people a lot because they help us a lot. Then we work with the police stations. We work along with them.
What about with the public school system?
Yes.
Do you have an advocate that works with the
Yes.
schools?
Yes, we do that because we go for prevention work there. So yes, we work with them. Even if they can reach out to us. The parents knows that we are sitting there and to help them. Yes.
And I would imagine agencies like PACE and
Yes.
the Career Center,
Yes.
because for many of these individuals, it's just starting to learn to live all over again because you've lost yourself.
Yeah.
I would
And your
presume.
financial resources, and maybe you've lost transportation. So we've also, a big project, Renu, that you've had in the past 6 months is bringing in those community partners on site. And we can do that now at our new headquarters. So we have a partnership with a program from the United Way for financial literacy. So just getting to exactly what you said, how do you rebuild financially? Often in domestic violence situations, there's financial abuse. So patterns of power and control from one partner, usually the man, but not always, over the woman's access to finances, access to relationships, access to and any of the things that help her and support her in her life. So we also offer English language classes. A lot of our clients don't speak English or are limited English capacity. So these are groups that we can offer in a safe environment with trusted advocates. We also offer a trauma-informed therapy group. It's a trauma support group. And other domestic violence support groups and parenting groups. So that prevention work you mentioned, we know that the evidence is there that prevention helps stop perpetration and victimization.
And I love the formula that you stated: safety, hope, and empowerment. That certainly is a formula for mental health and wellness. So talk about, what do you see now? What is trending now in terms of the type of cases that you're seeing and age that you might see in the population that's most impacted? What comes to mind? What are you seeing? What's changed? What's different?
To be honest, nothing much changed, because I know many times this question has come. Nothing has changed. I think we live in 20th century, but nothing has changed. When people are still treating others in a bad way.
Has it worsened? Is it stabilized?
Sometimes I think the media is there, it's more visible now, things are more there, people know about it, but before it was done and nobody talked about it. So still the stigma is there, people don't come forward and talk about it openly, but nothing much has changed. And that's the sad part of it.
Yeah, exactly. I was in Chicago for the National Domestic Violence Conference a few weeks ago, and one of the encouraging trends that I learned about was the call to men to enter the work, to enter the prevention work. And so if statistically 30% of men perpetrate violence, we're calling on the 2/3 of the rest of the men to step up and speak out against that. If women could have solved the problem of domestic violence by ourselves, we would have a long time ago. We're calling
into that.
Right, we want to call men into that work to model and teach respect, which we know disrespect is along the path to violence. So there is a trend in the advocacy movement to invite and call men into this prevention work.
So, in saying that, do you presently have any openings at the Women's Center, and do you have any men on staff presently?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. We have a wonderful property management team, and Anthony and Cody keep all of our the shelter properties safe, updated, alarm systems, well cared for, and they've gone through training for domestic violence and sexual assault response. They have a lot of contact with clients, and you know, are safe men, representatives of the Women's Center that are physically in our shelters every day. So that is really proud of their work and grateful that that's a, you know, not just symbolic, but an experience our survivors can have of what it's like to be around safe men. So that's Anthony and Cody. We have a new development and outreach person, Mitchell Tia, and we have a
Safe plan person.
Yeah, court advocate, Spanish-speaking court advocate, David Godinez. So we do call men into the work. It's not for everyone.
That's great. So that is
it's
definitely
there. Yeah.
a new trend in terms of your staffing. What about volunteers? Do you need volunteers in any capacity, and if so, how?
Renu, you could speak about our partnership with UMass Dartmouth.
So we just starting with, it's also prevention work, part of it. So we just started the medical advocacy with Dartmouth University. It's more with because we are on call 24/7, and then the students get internship credits, and then they are the part of that. They go when there is a call to go for. Then there is a client, and then they go for them when they get a call. They are always available for that call to come. So
one of the challenges with volunteering in this work is that the work is confidential, and in order for our clients to have the protection that the law allows through Mass Law 23 chapters 20K and 20J, in order for our clients to have that protection, there's a 40 to 45 hours of training that each advocate needs to go through. So there's a specialization to the work that doesn't allow as many volunteers as one would hope. But as we move into the community with activities and opportunities, we have in early October, 5K walk run to raise money and awareness around domestic violence. There are opportunities for volunteers, and one of the best ways people can volunteer is donating gift cards, because gift cards give our survivors the opportunity for choice and the power of choice in getting some of their basic needs met.
Some of your clients are also children, because children, as the mom is experiencing domestic violence, it impacts the entire family, that trauma. So in servicing children who also are victims, are there things that you need within the agency for the children?
Items, you mean?
Items,
Yeah,
yes.
so our youth trauma services program that's led by Danielle Cormier really is, and we always have a waiting list, and we're always looking for ways to reduce that waiting list and get kids in as quickly as we can. And these are kids who have experienced sexual trauma themselves or been a secondary survivor to domestic violence. So those needs probably aren't physical needs that we're necessarily linked into, but our shelters are shelters for families. So we have single individuals and families that come to shelters.
Right.
So diapers, wipes, formula, those are things that are the basic needs that if someone's fleeing quickly, they're not going to stop to bring a box of diapers with them, right? So we're always welcoming diapers, wipes, and formula.
So those are things you need on an ongoing basis.
Absolutely.
So if somebody's watching today and they're thinking, I can do that, I want to do that, how should they go about that?
Come to 174 Union Street
And drop them.
and drop them off on the
So there you
4th floor.
go.
You'll see Renu's office is right there by the front to welcome community members. It'll be wonderful.
I haven't been in your new space yet,
Okay.
so I'm going to come for a
Great.
visit, and
Yeah.
I will make sure that I do not come empty-handed
Okay,
when I
wonderful.
come. So I'll put that on the list. So are there any other activities that you do to raise funds? You mentioned the 5K. Are there any other events throughout the course of the year that we can look forward to or should know about?
Yeah, so we're operating under a new leadership structure, right, over the past year and a half, and a new organizational structure that is designed to be more client specific, more client focused. So the transparency and accountability and support that this leadership team brings enables us to show up better for our clients. And the same with, we've done a lot of focus internally on supporting our team. We have almost 60 people working for the Women's Center in some capacity. And so each and every person is a part of the culture of collaboration and transparency and accountability, and the mental health of each and every one of those almost 60 people is really important to us on a leadership team.
So you say 60 people, which
As a team.
seems like a pretty large team in comparison to what was it prior to?
Yeah, when I came on board about a year and a half ago, about 45.
Okay.
So we have shelters are staffed 24/7, so full-time and part-time staff there, and then the headquarters full of counselors, advocates, therapists, and then our partnership with the district attorney's office allows us to support civilian police advocates in 18 different areas throughout the county. Yeah, so we're local and we're spread.
We know what's happening with shelters throughout the state. On any given day, most of them are over capacity. Given the nature of the situation and that people are in situations fleeing for their life in some cases, is there a regional sort of network here? For example, if your shelters are at capacity, does the family have the option, if willing, to go to other towns, other cities within the state?
So the state has a safe link which is connected to throughout the state. So they can call that number. If there is any shelter available, you can always get in there. Then they send the taxi or Uber for you so that you can come there. So it's just there.
What would cause a woman or a family to be denied services? Is there anything that you can think of that would be
At the Women's Center?
No.
Yes.
I can't think of any reason. We welcome anyone
everyone.
wherever they are, and like we said, if we can't help them, we'll
find resources.
we'll find right.
Okay.
And there's usually something we can do for everybody in a situation.
Because anybody who comes to us, they are in danger somewhere or something is going on. It's different. I mean, if we say no to them, it's not right because we do have to help them. That's why they are here. So.
And once you are accepted into a shelter, with most shelters, there are rules, there are regulations, there are responsibilities. And so I would think it would be the same with your shelters. And so if someone is not in compliance with the shelter and shelter rules, would that be a reason to?
Yeah. Sure. So Grace Williams is our shelter service director, and it doesn't happen very often that we need to exit someone before they're ready, but there are safety concerns, of course, and we stay very closely to the contract guidelines that DPH, the Department of Public Health, has outlined for us. We stay very in close contact with our contract managers because we really want to make sure we're always doing this in a very survivor-centered way. So we don't allow use of substances in the shelters, but yet we know a lot of people coming and do have substance misuse challenges. So we work carefully and closely and in support with participants. How can we help you meet this goal of not using substances, right? Another piece that's really important is that the shelters are confidentially located, so disclosure of the location, right, might be a reason. If we have to escort someone out of the program, we do it with as much care as possible, with as much support as we can, but yeah, that does happen sometimes for the safety of everyone in the community, everyone in that shelter community. Doesn't happen very often though.
Do you also work with the interfaith community? Because oftentimes for many people who have gone, be it drug addiction or any other type of addiction, faith has been able to transform and empower lives also. Do you work at all with the interfaith community in any capacity?
Well, I sit on the now called the Bristol County Continuum of Care Executive Committee, and Reverend David Lima sits on that executive committee. There's a lot of opportunity for overlap. We have had a long-term relationship with the Unitarian Universalist Church, and a lot of faiths are represented at the Women's Center, and non-faiths, faiths and non-faiths. So we always go with whatever the survivor is looking for. If the survivor would like help getting connected to a faith-based resource, we can do that, and everything is survivor-led.
So in terms of, I had mentioned earlier that at the end of the program we're going to have a list of numbers. If you were speaking to someone today in need of help, surely you would say the first number that they should call is your number.
Is our hotline number.
The hotline.
Right, which is 508-999-6636.
It's here.
Yeah. It's on our website.
Everywhere.
It's you can Google it. It's 508-999-6636.
Oftentimes people who are in dangerous situations are experiencing domestic violence cannot find the strength within to even make that call. Suppose there are families watching today and they know something is going on and they're calling your agency on behalf of someone else. How does that work? Are you able to assist in some way a person who has not called you directly?
So if any parent reach out or any friend reach out or they send an email, yes, I reply them what they have to do and how they can help that person. It's because we always have to be validating the person's feeling and make it available that you are there to help and tell them we are also there to help them.
We're coming to the close of today's program and I wish we actually had more time. This is very difficult work to do. It's not easy. Thank you for having the passion and the desire, first of all, to do this work. Can each of you think of a situation or something that you've experienced in the course of your work that makes you feel, this is why I'm here? Either of you.
Go ahead.
Oh, there is a lot of incidents in my life, I think. I think it's more when you have helped somebody and they give you a blessing saying that you changed my life or you are angel, you came as an angel in my life. That moment, everything what you have done is enough. You don't need more than that.
That's beautiful. Kristin?
Yeah, I would say our foremothers in this work, not just at the Women's Center for 50 years, but in the movement for women's safety and empowerment, that work has always been survivor-led. So our work at the Women's Center is survivor-led, from the board to executive leadership to staff. We recruit folks who are survivors, and so that the work is deep. It can be deeply personal, and we are all healing our own trauma as we go along, and we, extend that to others. I'm a survivor of childhood sexual assault, so when I first started at the Women's Center and saw 7, 8, 9-year-old girls coming in for trauma therapy, that meant a lot to me, to think that their life might be a little bit different, that they're able to begin their healing process from this horrible thing that happened to them early enough that that will be prevention work for them, that will affect their future choices in relationships. So I think all of us have some experience like that we run into.
That's beautiful. And if you are watching today, and if this resonates with you, if you are in a situation and you're feeling hopeless and you're feeling lost and you feel like you're feeling hopeless, make that call today. Call the Women's Center. No one is born to live like this, to be abused, to be controlled. Make that call today and start on your journey of hope. And also, in closing today, we'd like to acknowledge during this month, Domestic Violence Month, those who have lost someone to domestic violence in this moment. Our heart and our prayers are with you. Thank you both for coming here today. Thank you for this important work that you both are doing and keeping this legacy alive through the New Bedford Women's Center. Thank you for watching today. I hope you have enjoyed today's program. I hope you have learned something today that you didn't know about the services of the Women's Center. We will see you next time on Neighborhood Update.